YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back with some more Total War Rome 2. And I got to play a couple of battles against this guy here from Battlestar. It's pretty fun playing against him, so I'll show you these. He started to pick a barbarian faction. I was like, hey, I'll do the same, it'll be kind of fun. So I picked Tylis, he's picked the Suebi. You can see his army there, it's got a cord of round shields. This is actually something I've used something similar to before. In fact, I think you get to see it in some upcoming videos. Not exactly what I would have used, but not very unsound, actually. In fact, I kind of like the build. Lots of cheap swords just to keep me busy. Suebi have a really good charge, even though most of their infantry are crappy. Berserkers to get the job done. He's already got chevrons on him. Don't really know that that's necessary, but hey, curious, we'll just see. And then he's got a couple of noble riders, 3 of them, and then 2 riders of the hunt. In fact, his riders of the hunt, I think, right now are right here, moving their way around, so nice use of the terrain there to keep them disguised. Longbow hunters are hidden as well, because you saw them in the startup screen. They're somewhere right here. But basically, he's got 6 round shields, 3 berserkers, 3 noble riders, 2 riders of the hunt, and 4 longbow hunters. I've got 4 Celtic slingers, which ought to be fine against his longbow hunters. I was expecting Cimbri bowwomen, which was a little scarier, but still wanted something to protect my Thracian warriors. I've got 4 of them because they are going to be very vulnerable to bow fire, or even slinger fire for that matter. I've got 3 tribal warriors and an oath sworn, making up my infantry line, and then I have 4 noble horse. Very risky investment for me in the noble horse. The Tylis don't have a whole lot of cavalry variety though. It's basically either super heavy or super light. So I'm going to be skirmishing with his bows. I actually don't have very good line of sight right here. In fact, I wonder if some of my slingers, some of my slingers here are having a hard time firing. So my slingers over here are doing quite a bit better for 2 reasons. One, they have a better line of fire. This little hill is actually giving his bows a great opportunity. They can fire up and over, as you see, whereas my guys are having a hard time. Anyway, my slingers are getting kills, though. You can see that the slingers are definitely going to be superior to the longbow hunters in this case. Well, why is that? Longbow hunters have higher attack. And there's a couple of reasons. One, the slingers have a higher fire rate in this case. And they also have small shields, which although they don't have a huge block chance with missiles, there is some block chance, as opposed to the longbow hunters who have no armor and no shield with no block chance. Which means that pretty much every shot that hits them, rather than bouncing off a shield. So I start to win, my opponent pulls his longbow hunters back. No need to chase them, I'll just start firing at his round shields. They're going to be pretty vulnerable to missile fire as well, though they do have a shield, so it'll help them out. So you can see his men shielding their approach. In any case, this is forcing my opponent to need to attack me. There's a few things I'm concerned about. Obviously, his berserkers on the flank are a threat to my cavalry or my infantry. And I brought my Thracian warriors for a reason. Thracian warriors also have a very high charge and are kind of an all-at-once type unit. And what I mean by that is they're going to get all their kills on the charge or nowhere at all. So I want them to absorb the Suebi charge. That's why I've spread them out into insanely thin lines. It's because I don't intend for these guys to live or to be well braced. I just intend for them to soak up the Suebi charge, at which point I'll start reinforcing with my heavily armored, high defense infantry, which are going to be a problem for the Suebi, because the Suebi have pretty low defense and armor, for the most part. So yeah, my guys are going to destroy these round shield swords on the charge. It's going to be a no contest. And my Thracian warriors are going to be very, very capable on the charge against round shields. Against berserkers, I'll get a few kills against the berserkers too, but they're going to turn that fight around. Thracian warriors, though, probably do have the capability to potentially beat round shields as long as they get enough charge. My guys are also kind of outflanking his because of my wide formation there. When you have a unit with really high charge, it's not necessarily bad to put them into a wide formation, unless you're concerned about them getting countercharged by enemy cav. Round shield swordsman's going to come in on me here to push back my slingers, and he's going to start committing more of his troops because that fight didn't go well. Now here my Thracian warriors didn't get a charge, so it's not going to be good. And I didn't get a charge with my tribal warriors against these round shields, but my guys will do fine. Tribal warriors have extremely high melee defense and very good armor, although their attack is somewhat limited. I just tie down my opponent's cav on the flanks because I'm feeling pretty confident about the infantry scenario, so I'm just like, you know what? Just tie his cav down. As long as his cav can't get to me, I think I can obtain a victory. So I'm going to play a war of attrition, whereas my opponent needs a knockout punch. And he kind of gets it. I mean, you can see my Thracian warriors did great. I knocked out 20 of these berserkers for such a cheap unit. Not bad, but his berserkers are going to win. Fortunately, they went berserk, and they're going to chase my Thracian warriors for a minute. But my heavier infantry line is having no problem beasting down these round shield swordsmen, even without me getting a counter charge. Here I will with my Oathsworn, thank goodness. Yeah, you can see that they wipe those guys out pretty hard. And I just leave my cav here to hold his Riders of the Hunt at bay, as well as his general. But he is breaking through me with his berserkers. Again, any kills I can get with my Thracian warriors are a benefit. That was 2 berserkers versus my Thracian warriors, so not going to be real effective. So again, see how I'm going to piecemeal engage with my opponent? Just piecemeal. Just hold them up. Just keep holding them up. Let my men get free. So like right here, my tribal warriors get free, so I can now fight these berserkers. Still going to be a very difficult fight. I got round shields on my flank over here trying to outflank. Yeah, my slingers can handle them now. Cav fight's ongoing out here. His noble riders actually doing much better than I expected in this fight. His guys have very similar statistics, actually. Melee defense. His have higher melee defense. So that would explain why they're winning that fight. I didn't know that. I would have actually thought noble riders were better. Or that noble horse were better. It looks like noble riders are better. So my opponent goes for a rear charge, but my slingers are making him pay for it, and his guys are getting beaten. And then over here, my general has finished, only lost 3 men, taking down a round shield swordsman, and I'm going to charge into these berserkers from the flank now that they're tired from having used their headhunt. They used their headhunt against my tribal warriors. It was quite deadly, but now they're going to get a little bit bogged down, and he's using his longbow hunters to kill as many of my Oathsworn as he can. Definitely a good thing to do, because my slingers had to focus over here, so he was able to make some use of his longbow hunters. Now I'm going to chase them off, though. So see, I'm going to hit them right here, get them out of the way for a minute, and then just use my slingers to do other damage. So I'm going to try and hit his Riders of the Hunt with some of my slinger fire. And he's able to get most of his bowmen away for now. And again, just a delaying maneuver over here with his noble riders and my noble horse. You can see that I've accomplished what I want to. I won the war of attrition on this flank. My opponent has berserkers still out here tied up with my noble horse, and he finally beats my noble horse over here. That's actually a pretty convincing win for his guys. I do think he won the charge, though, too. But yeah, at this point, my general, I'm able to use headhunt, rally, all that other stuff, and you can see that it actually does help me kill the enemy berserkers. My general is beating them because they were tired by that point, and I can start reinforcing other pieces of this fight. So his Riders of the Hunt actually get beat. And then I'm going to start trying to outflank these berserkers with my slingers. They actually just quit going berserk, so they're actually kind of like reforming their little group because they were chasing some of my men through the woods that had routed. But yeah, obviously I want to kill the berserkers. Their fear effect is not something that I want to keep around. These guys are doing great, though. I mean, they're very tough units, and they'll fight to the death most of the time. Here you go. Tribal warriors charging what's left of these berserkers. Berserkers probably still going to get some nice kills off the charge. Yeah, considering how few men were left, they did okay. Yeah, I'm going to use my slingers. Those guys are going to be gone. And then my noble horse finishes off most of what's left of his archers at that point. Yeah, again, war of attrition worked out for me. Look at this, 2 berserkers left, and they're still fighting. Finally had to pelt that guy with a rock. My guys are cheering while he rides around on the ground in his mushroom-induced haze of battle. Noble riders were approaching me. I'm going to take them out too. So it's at this point where I pretty much have the battle worked out here. So my war of attrition worked against the Suebi. It's not a bad way to deal with them. The Suebi are going to be able to deliver their main punch on the first charge. That's where you need to be afraid of them. The fear, the flanking, and the charge. That's what the Suebi are going to have going for them. Whereas other barbarian factions, which like in the case of Tylis, is going to have heavily armored infantry that can have a lot more staying power, like infantry that can kind of even stand up to Roman units for a good long while. Whereas the Suebi don't really have that. They're definitely more of a shock factor type army, and you're going to have to make your pain early and make it effective if you want to beat your opponent. So I think in this case, my idea for the war of attrition worked out good. May not every time. It's just going to depend on how the person plays the Suebi. A lot of people think the fear effect is dead because morale is higher. It's not dead. The fear effect on Suebi units is actually still quite deadly. But it's not quite as effective as it was in patch 14, where it was just ludicrous how you could come and rout entire enemy armies. You need to combine it. Usually the fear factor has to be combined with some outflanking and some flaming arrows or javelins, and it is still very much viable. A lot of people just don't make use of the flaming javelins or arrows like they could. My opponent had one last unit of berserkers, which he throws in. I'm more worried about them than any other unit that's left, because that's still quite a few berserkers. And I have a very limited amount of infantry, and my slingers are somewhat limited too. Now he commits his noble riders trying to get to my slingers, which actually gives me an advantage. It lets my noble horse get some pretty serious damage. And while he was still moving his noble horse, I rested mine, so that my men were fresh, and his are now very tired. But he's still going to push the attack. He really wants to kill my slingers, because he's hoping, hey, my berserkers really might be able to kill these guys over here. He even used battle rhythm on him. Very good. And you can see that he's causing some extreme damage to my tribal warriors here. Probably even going to beat him. Very impressive from the berserker. So he knew, though, that he had to kill my slingers to have any hope. But it's going to cost him, because to kill my slingers, it means he has to pull through. When he pulls through, he's going to continue to take losses. And he has to chase one slinger unit at a time. And again, the losses start to mount. His noble riders start to pay the price. So, yeah, you can see his men now going down at a pretty fast rate, as they're tired and they can't really effectively run away. This berserker unit here, though, fights down to the last man. He's present right here, so I guess this is Borg the berserker. Tanking it out against my tribal warriors, who have seen most of their friends die at his hands. So again, another mushroom-induced rage from him. I'm even now throwing stones in, and finally this guy stabs him, much to the joy of his comrades. So great battle there against my my opponent. Thanks for playing the game with me. I did play one more with him, and as you can see, he is a good opponent, and I get another round with him. So we'll see whether I'm able to hold on for another round against him, or whether he's going to come out and get the best of me. That was a Pyrrhic victory there. Great game. We actually had the exact same number of men. Kind of curious how that worked out. So yeah. Anyway, HeirofCarthage, signing off for now.